The widespread belief that women need long foreplay, for example, minimum 20 minutes, is a limiting belief for you. It restricts your sex life, and it is completely not true, and women can get aroused pretty fast. So what I have to tell you in this video is not some random idea or something I misperceived from women. It is a result of working with women very intensely for 20 years with lots of different histories, situations, and really tracking the issues that they had with arousal. So whenever I see this information that women need minimum 20 minutes to get aroused, my first immediate question is, well, what do you mean by foreplay here? What exactly is going to be done in those 20 minutes? Invariably, the foreplay technique in our culture is very poor. It's either completely misplaced and is not what you should be doing, like, giving oral to a woman, or it is really impotent and weak, like, brushing fingers on her skin, giving her massages, so it doesn't do much. So when the technique for arousal is poor, you are going to need 20 minutes minimum. In fact, that might not be enough. You might need 40 minutes. So the process of arousal does not need to be long. It just needs to be effective. The technique needs to be effective. With effective technique, a woman needs much less time to get aroused than the stated 20 minutes. And I don't mean by this, stimulating her mind with fantasies or dirty talk and stuff, that's very much a matter of taste. No, I mean a really good technique through the body, through the energy of the body, to arouse the sexual energy in the body with the physical contact. With effective technique, it is totally feasible for a lot of women to get aroused within, say, 5 minutes. Now, an important consideration, when we are talking about effective technique for a woman's arousal, we are not just talking about what the partner is doing to arouse her body, how to touch her body, etc. There is also a technique on her side. How is she present in her body? How is she engaging with it? How is she connecting with it? Because that really makes a big impact, and it can accelerate the awakening of sexual energies in her. If she's just passive, thinking about her work while her partner is doing something on her body, obviously that's going to take a long time or never. A lot of women think that arousal is a passive process. If your partner is doing something well enough, you're going to get aroused. It doesn't work like this at all. You have a lot of power to slow it down, to make it more difficult, to accelerate it, depending on how you are connecting to the feelings that your partner is creating for you in your body. So that is actually a really big part of arousal technique, the mental states, the states of connection that I teach as part of arousal always. I teach very much in detail. I put a lot of emphasis on them when I teach people about arousal. Now, another very interesting thing I discovered is that a woman's arousal time can shorten a lot permanently through good practice. So through consistent practice of good sex, a woman's body becomes naturally more responsive. It just becomes faster. For a woman, arousal is not just a matter of the input, how good the technique is, how her body is touched, but it is also a matter of relaxation and opening herself. And women tend to carry a lot of tensions about sex. Sometimes they are aware of it, sometimes they are not aware of it. There might be a bit of anxiety about something, there might be a bit of unwillingness of something, there might be a bit of, feeling of pressure, all these things. So if a woman gets consistent sex that feels not pressuring her, she's relaxed in it, she can just be free, it feels fulfilling for her, then she has what I call trust in the body growing. So it's not an intellectual trust that she trusts a person, it is trust in the body. She trusts that her body can feel really good, that her body is alive, it is healthy, that her body can get aroused, and her body trusts her partner. Her body feels relaxed with her partner. It doesn't feel under pressure. It feels like the body knows that this is going to be good. So then there is this responsiveness that grows organically. And it's almost like the barriers that are normally there, that kind of hold back a little bit, and that you need to penetrate through those barriers every time you go through arousal. They are no longer there. So the woman's body is just able to start flourishing pretty soon after the contact starts. I've worked with a lot of women. Now this is on a case-by-case basis. You can't put pressure on yourself to achieve those results. But I have worked with women who had problems with getting aroused, couldn't get aroused, and they would eventually get aroused within literally a minute or two through this trust that the experience is going to be positive and there's going to be nothing negative happening there, no pressure, just through this trust. And this comes from making love in a way that is good for you over a period of time, and then this capacity to get aroused quickly grows. So in this way, the arousal time for a woman is dynamic. It can really change over the course of her life with events, depending on the relationship she's in, depending on the things that happened in her life, depending on where she is at now. So in some period of life, you might struggle to get aroused. You might need a much longer time for arousal. And then in another period of your life, depending on the sexual practice, you might have a very short period of arousal. So this is all changeable, it's dynamic. The arousal time for a woman is also dynamic on a day-to-day basis. That's important to remember. For a lot of women, the arousal time is going to be dynamic in the sense that one day you might get aroused in 2 minutes, another day you might need 20 minutes because your day was difficult, your head is busy, you just can't connect at the moment with your body. Obviously hormonal fluctuations, other fluctuations in your state of mind, in your energy, whatever. So it's important to have that flexibility. And if it's not happening easy, then you be patient with it. Don't put yourself under pressure. Give yourself extra time. It's important to go with the flow today. For that reason, for example, when I teach arousal, I don't teach a particular sequence of arousal. There are variants. There are different sequences that I teach depending on the state of energy. So different methods of arousal through the body are more suitable depending on where your energy is today. If you're interested in those different methods, those different variations, sequences for arousal, I teach them only in my Holistic Sex course. I don't teach them in any other of my courses. And in the Holistic Sex Complete course, I will tell you which sequence to apply on which day, what's more suitable. So freeing up this idea that you need 20 minutes to get aroused is really liberating. It just makes your life a lot easier. It is difficult to be so rigid and to have 20 minutes only for foreplay and then for everything else. When you obviously have a busy life, you struggle for energy, maybe you have children. Now, there is a completely different issue here that you might want to spend longer on doing other things that are not moving on to the genitals, not moving on to the intercourse. Absolutely, totally. It is not that, intercourse or genital stimulation is the only real sex and you need to get there as fast as possible. Of course, it's not like that. In fact, I'm a believer that there are beautiful kinds of sex that you can have completely without genitals and definitely without intercourse. And many days of your life with a partner, that is the perfect sex. All I'm saying is that you don't need a long time to get aroused if you go about things well. You can get aroused very quickly and then do whatever you want with that once you're aroused, whether you're going to involve the genitals and the intercourse or not. It really helps when you can get aroused much faster. You don't need so much time for sex, so you can fit it in more easily in your life and maintain a constant connection with your partner. So I think it is a really important limiting belief to get rid of. We need to come a little full circle here. In the beginning, obviously, typically foreplay is really bad, arousal is really short, and women just do not get aroused, and that's wrong. So the second stage that we go into from there is, to say, well, actually spend extra time on it. But once we have done that phase, then we can again enjoy short time for arousal. But in this case, it's actually effective and it does get you aroused. So I hope that explains and it helps you.